Good morning. Welcome to Toy Fair University. Up now we have Winning Gen Alpha, the playbook for safe, authentic, high-impact engagement. Our moderator for today is Mady from Zigazoo.
Morning, everybody. Thank you for waking up bright and early. I think this is, the third day of Toy Fair. Just have a quick question to make sure everyone is in the right place. How many of you, show of hands, were born before 2010? All right, we can teach you a few things. Thanks for coming. Let's get started. So Gen Alpha doesn't experience brands in silos. They don't separate digital from physical, content from commerce, or entertainment from community. A toy becomes content, a tour becomes a social moment, and a creator becomes the connection. What makes today's conversation special is that each of these companies on stage with me is building with kids, not just marketing to them. And they're doing this across social, streaming, live experiences, and toys. I'm Mady, president of Zigazoo. We're the world's largest social network for kids. And this is where brands are building through communities and deep engagement, not just impressions. Joining me on stage, we have Sasha Young. She's from Kidz Bop. Kidz Bop.
Hi, everyone.
Kidz Bop brings the music and fandom and the live tour lens, and they turn kids into fans and participation into culture. Then we have Jordan from Spin Master. They bring toys and entertainment franchises that kids already love, from Paw Patrol to Rubik's to Kinetic Sand, including crossover moments like Unicorn Academy coming to life on the Kidz Bop tour.
Yes.
And then we have Brenda from Kadoodle. Kadoodle TV brings the trusted family first streaming perspective. They're focused on safety, quality, and their parents' choice. Today isn't about hype. It's about what actually works with kids, what kids choose, and most importantly, what parents support, and how to show up responsibly without losing the magic. Let's dig right in. All right, first question is for Sasha. What's the best example you've seen with safety done so well that kids didn't even notice it, but parents deeply appreciated it?
Well, first of all, I think that there are a lot of brands that are kid-safe these days, as well as a handful of select platforms. And I think that no one is doing it better than the three people sitting up here with me today. And in fact, Kidz Bop partners with all three of them. And we go back a long time. Ashley and I have known each other for, 10 plus years. And we've been working with her on her Kadoodle platform for several years. Oh my gosh, Brenda. Kadoodle, several years, Kidz Bop platform. Ashley on Zigazoo. We have a deep partnership with them for the past 2-3 years. Oh, Lord. It's early in the morning. Forgive me. I haven't had enough coffee. And Jordan and Spin Master, we've been working with for 2 years in relation to our national tour with their Unicorn Academy property. And I think safety is in the DNA of Kidz Bop. We've been doing it since the beginning, and I think we've been doing it organically, naturally. It's in the DNA of our brand. We're celebrating 25 years this year. It's our 25th birthday. It's core to everything that we do. I think that people ask us, what's the secret sauce of Kidz Bop? And I think that it's twofold, and going back to the original question. One, kids love us because it's fun. They don't listen to Kidz Bop because it's safe. They listen to it because they love to hear it, they love to sing and dance along, and they can see themselves in the Kidz Bop kids. We take the best of pop culture, whether that's music, video content, fashion, streetwear, what they hear on the radio, and we sort of run it through the Kidz Bop filter and make it fun and appropriate for them. And parents love us because they know that they can trust the lyrics, they know that the content that we produce is going to be safe and also engaging. So I think for us, it's just inherent in what we do every day, and our decisions are sort of baked into that.
Well, I love Kidz Bop, and I need to come closer. Hello, everybody. Love Kidz Bop. Thank you for all the years of partnership. For us, Kadoodle TV, we came before YouTube Kids. We saw a fundamental need to ensure safety when online streaming, and we are a tech company and develop technology for a reason. About 12 years ago, we were the only people out there using the word safe, and it was as if I had 3 eyeballs when I would talk about it. We came before YouTube Kids. Again, this is a very important point, and what we've done is we, first of all, trademarked safe streaming. We own those words, and we adhere to the highest letters of the law when it comes to keeping kids safe online. And I use that phrase, when you cross the street, you hold your kid's hand, right? Don't talk to strangers. We're ensuring that there's this safe area and everything is human moderated, which is not an easy feat. And the kids don't know that, but they know that everything that they like on YouTube is also on Kadoodle, and that is for 12 and under. My daughter likes to call me a babysitter for all of the kids in the world, and I think that's adorable. But at the same time, I've got kids under 12 in 160 countries, a lot of hungry mouths to feed. That's the preschoolers, the 5 to 8, the 9 to 12, and it's big brands, it's big content creators, it's big gamers, the Roblox, the Minecraft, the Nintendo ambassadors, it's music, which I'm deeply connected to and I believe brings a huge amount of diversity to the conversation and connection on a community level. So, you know, who's doing it best? Well, selfishly us, but I also look around and I think, you know, sometimes it's so forced at kids and they can see right through that. So what we've been able to continuously do and prove is that there is a need for it and that there is a place that parents can find that.
And I think for us as a toy company, right, we want to make that an experience that's not just the product, right? So with partnering with Kidz Bop and UCA, the songs that they're seeing in their shows, they can now experience in real life, right? And it becomes an experience for not just the kid, but also the parent. And they're able to take something off the screen, they can play with it, they can touch it, they can see it, and it's a full experience for them where the parents aren't just being passive, right? They're able to participate actively with them. We've able to work with Zigazoo, with Kinetic and Rubik's, and it's able to have kids speak to other kids in a safe way, right? Like these are brands that have been around, but we're always going to need people to be introduced to them. So finding the right way to speak directly to them on these platforms, because on every other platform, we're speaking to gift givers, we're speaking to parents, right? Like we're not talking directly to kids. And so finding this right balance, this right sort of 360 approach, if you will, so they can see themselves in the kids on Zigazoo. They can see themselves, like you're saying, on the kids in Kidz Bop. And being able to have partners like that really help us build that connection so it's not a passive experience, right? It's something that just keeps going. They find new play patterns with like, oh, I saw this song. I can now sing it and, you know, play with my unicorn and stuff like that. So answering the question of like doing it best, it's clay, right? You're going to have to keep molding it, right? They keep changing. But I think finding the right partners that we can work with to just make it feel like a safe experience is what we look for.
Yeah, I think, you know, Gen Alpha is growing up with screens from the beginning. One of the things that we emphasize at Zigazoo is how do we let kids grow up online without growing up too fast? And that's really important. And I think screens in some ways can get a bad rap. So I'm curious to know about non-screen versus on-screen, how that gets framed, you know, can they live together? What's everyone's opinion on that?
Ooh,
Yes.
I got excited. Well, our average retention is about 2 hours. And last I heard on the street, other platforms sit below 90 minutes. That's a lot of screen time. And we know that 93% of parents feel bad about screen time. We all feel guilty because we're busy. We just don't have the luxury of engaging. And I don't really remember my parents engaging. It was go play outside. So it's just a different kind of outfit and a different reframe. As far as balance goes, I think there's a really big conversation that our business needs to figure out in terms of the trust component. I think trust is a really big word. You tell them, you know, the rules of the road, right? Make sure you drink water, you eat healthy, you don't talk to strangers. There needs to be a conversation around how to engage online. That goes from what your screen name is, who your friends are. We're watching a lot of controversy with different platforms that are open. And knowing as a parent that, what those platforms are, if they are open platforms where people can come in and put anything up or, encourage a certain type of behavior. Those are really big things to look at, but also balancing that screen time with agency with your child to have a real direct conversation around the balance of that, right? And weekdays and weekends are all very different, but it's also interesting to look at it from the perspective of kids also want to hang out with their parents. They do, they really do. And where is that television viewing happening? We were early adopters in connected TVs because we believe, and still do, that viewing is happening together in the living room, which begs the question of content isn't really just for kids, it's for all of us. So
I agree. And I think it's unrealistic to think that, kids are not going to use screens. I mean, let's be clear. I mean, the pandemic totally changed that. They're using screens and computers in school now. We can't avoid it. I think at Kidz Bop, where we play in the sandbox is, yes, we're creating and producing incredible video content for kids that we are distributing to trusted platforms like Kadoodle. We feel very strongly about where our content is distributed. But then we also have a massive partnership with Live Nation. So we're trying to build core memories where we're taking our Kidz Bop kids out on the road. So you can, and for many kids, it's their first ever concert or pop concert experience. And they really are making those core memories with their siblings, with their friends, and with their parents. And to your point, so many folks are on connected TVs now. We hear a lot that kids and families are having dance parties in their living room. They're not just watching the content. They're doing sing-alongs, dance-alongs. They're sharing time together as a family with our music as a background. I think Kidz Bop music is the soundtrack to, school, morning drive time, taking kids to soccer. It's what they hear in the car before they get out every day to go to school, to go to soccer practice, to go to ballet. And I think we love that we have all of those touch points. It's not that we're just directing them to the screen. And when we are, we're asking them to be active. We talk a lot about phygital. Am I getting this right, Jackie? I'm talking to Jackie on my team here. Phygital entertainment, phygital videos where there is a dance or move along component to the video content. So we're producing a lot of that right now as well to get kids and families up and moving.
did you trademark that? That's good.
We didn't, but we've been talking about it a lot, and we giggle as we say it out loud.
Don't take it.
But yes, phygital entertainment, Brenda.
When I would say from a Spitmaster perspective, right, like, yes, we're at Toy Fair, but we're also an entertainment company, right? Paw Patrol is a gigantic IP for us. So we're not trying to tell people, don't watch the screen, right? We know as a parent, I have 3 kids, a 4-year-old daughter and 2 1-year-old boys, and you're gonna have screen time, right? Like, it's a part of who you are and how you do things, but it's about that experience, right? Like with the Paw Patrol Holiday Special, that song is so catchy. You can keep singing it, and then you can play with the toys, and now you can have a holiday experience with the product. So I think it's like, we know it's going to be happening, but it's like, how do you make sure that you're not using it as a passive engagement? You're like, okay, what is the creativity that can come from this? What can we take from this moment and turn into a play pattern, a way that you're engaging with your kids, you're doing something together. So that's how they're growing up, and it's a little bit up to each parent, right? Like, what are you comfortable with? How do you want to do it? But I think the way that we look at it from a Spin Master perspective is there's so many pieces to this puzzle, and so watching it, playing with it, singing with it is all a part of how it is to be a part of that IP.
I want to say something because the word imagination is something that every single one of us, even you do with Zigazoo, you allow for that imagination, and it's as if you're listening and you're responding to that and you're encouraging it. We're all encouraging it. I think that's really big.
Yeah, and I think one of the hardest things is with COPA, how do you actually engage with kids? How do you get them to participate? That's one thing, a lot of us do here on stage with moderation. That's what allows participation. That's what allows kids to get up and make videos and co-create with their friends. Kids are inherently social. So my next question dives into Gen Alpha being 0 to 15, and that's a wide age span. And I'm curious to know when they get to pick when they get to pick what platforms they're on, what they're watching, when does it change, and how do they have playground currency? When do kids decide?
I'm happy to go first on this one, and then we can sort of toss it around. I really do think the playground currency, like the children's water cooler talk, I had a actual experience where my daughter does not go to the same school as this other kid, but I was at the house and they were literally doing the same like joke and playing around, and I'm like, how did these things that have no way of communicating, right? They're not on social media together or anything like that, but if they see something, they're gonna talk about it. And for some reason, these kids, these groups, they find the same little nuggets and are able to share with each other. So these experiences that they're able to have, they will then talk about it. They will then share with their other friends. And then when my daughter comes back, again, she's 4, and I know you're saying, like, when is it right? Yeah. I think it's finding that right balance. Like, is she really passionate about how she's talking about it with me? Or is she just saying, like, oh, I want this because my friend has it or that? But, like, if she really shows that passion, okay, let's lean into it. Let's see if that's what she, really cares about. Yeah. But that may change when she's 6 or 7 or 8, right? Like, she may have more authority in, like, what matters, what is she wanting to get into. So I think it's a big range, and I know I said I was going to say it, there's a lot of nuance with it, right? Like, you can't treat a 4-year-old the same as a 15-year-old, the same as a 10-year-old, same as a, little girl, little boy. Like, there's just so many different ways that it is set up. So to answer your question, I think it's really like, if you see that passion, okay, then let's try this out. Let's see if this is something that you're really interested in and how long that's going to last. It could be done by tomorrow.
I would add, I'm a mom of a pre-tween. So I'm a millennial mom of a pre-tween COVID kid, okay? And I would say that the little bucket of our Gen Alphas, it's easy. It's Paw Patrol, it's Peppa, it's Bluey. Simple, done, dusted. That's what's in the
But you meant Paw Patrol, right?
Paw Patrol.
As the main one.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
I did own the tower. Don't worry.
No, I know.
I didn't
I
even
heard
get
those
it for
other
free.
ones, but I just want to be clear. Paw Patrol.
We still wrap presents in Bluey wrapping paper. Anyways, and then we lose them around 6, 7, 8 to gaming because they're looking to define their own aesthetic. They're looking to have control in their environment. They're looking for community. They're starting to become themselves, and that encouragement and leaning into the things that they're interested in is really an important moment. And then from 8 on, they are decision making. They are out there in the world in a way that's 10 times faster than us because they've had a phone in their face since they were born. They're talking to friends. It doesn't matter if that dandy hoodie came from Australia. If everybody's got it, it's the way you are engaging in the world. Watch the Grammys with your kid. They'll know everybody that's up there. Do you? You do, but.
Well, I don't know. Well, it's getting harder and harder.
I know, but thanks for taking the bad words out to make me blush. But I would say that playground currency is, even if you don't have social media, my daughter has no social media whatsoever, but she still knows what's on TikTok. If I go on TikTok, I'll see her in a video because she's dancing with her friends. I can't control what other people are doing, but she knows. And no matter what I try to do to stop it, she's going to figure it out. Not that I'm stopping it, but I think it's really important to sit down and be like, like you said, why do you like that? What is that about? Oh, that's really cool. That's how I know what cosmetics to buy at Sephora. I don't have a choice anymore in my say. It's like, this is better for you. Okay, sounds good. Because she learned it from her friends that learned it from TikTok.
Well, and I think that kids nowadays are smarter than we adults sometimes give them credit for. I think we put our 30, 40s, 50-year-old brains on what we think that they should be doing when in fact they have their own agency and are very opinionated, have their own thoughts, and they know what they want. And I think, at Kidz Bop, what we want to do, like I said, is we take everything and we run it through that filter so that they are talking about it at school. They are talking about it with their siblings. They are, it is reaching up to their parents. And I think that's very important. I mean, they can sniff out what is real and what is authentic in a hot second. Not to delve into AI too much, I'm just going to very briefly, my niece and nephew, who are my focus group of 2 right now because they're in the Kidz Bop demo, and I think to the chagrin of my team at Kidz Bop, I'm constantly mentioning Dashiell and Meadow May, giving them props here again. But I was with them all at Thanksgiving for a week, and we were just they love to look at video content of animals. And my niece knew instinctively what was an AI video and what isn't. They know what is authentic and real. We do not need to tell them, they know. And I think that that's important as they're, communicating with their friends and their siblings and their parents.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue even back to Zigazoo. We are a digital platform. We teach digital citizenship to the youngest. We actually have a whole AI curriculum that's running through our platform to educate kids about AI. So I think, as brands, as people in this industry that talk to kids every day, we have to be really deliberate about what platforms we're on, how we educate kids to be better. And I'm curious about just connection with kids. What does it actually look like in practice for all of you?
I'm happy to go first. We can legally talk to parents, and we do. We ask a lot of questions to our parents. We have a very vocal audience, and most of that comes from Instagram with the moms. We also have a very particular tone. We're not out there talking crap about parenthood. We're out there being soft and sweet and understanding. That's our approach that we found that works very well, and we're getting feedback from that. I think that kids are the most important people in the room, and we want to understand what those needs are, what they feel bad about, what they wish they had help with. For us, that goes way beyond the screen. It goes into philanthropic endeavors that we do, from feeding families to granting wishes with Make-A-Wish to educational donations that benefit kids in the classroom and give teachers a solution to bring mainstream content into the classroom without utilizing another platform that's not particularly safe or maybe banned from their classroom. So I feel like at the end of the day, what's really working for us is having that dialogue with the parents and making sure they feel like we're listening to them and then we're there. We're not just a tech company. We're not just some platform that doesn't care. We're actually we have a customer service team of a lot of people I've never met, and they will respond to you very nicely.
I think for us, right, it's a little bit through the lens of we need to be authentic on our platforms. We need to be speaking to adults, as you said, right? That's who we are talking to. We're not talking to kids. But we also need to entertain, right? These are social platforms. So, right, you need to find something that, I know you're a parent, right? I'm almost my own target demo because I have a kid of that age. I'm of the age range of people I'm trying to talk to. So it's okay, well, what would I engage with? What would I stop in a scroll? And how would it make me see this product or this thing that doesn't feel like a overt commercial? It feels like, okay, they're on social. They understand what it is. They understand the tone and the way that we should be talking. And so I think for us, it's being intentional about the type of content we're putting out there, but that it stays true to our tone of voice, and our core values at Spin Master, right? It's innovation, it's play. And I think those are really something that we try to highlight, but again, it's social, so we gotta do it in a fun way. It's not 30-second TVC that's just gonna run on, TGIF that doesn't exist, and I'm dating myself while we're up here, but yeah. So that's how we approach it, right? It's authenticity at the core, and everything that comes out is through that same lens.
And I think to elaborate on what Jordan was saying, when we think about connection, we talk a lot about, it's bifurcated. There's 2 things. It's how do we connect with parents, and then how do we connect with kids? And obviously, it's 2 totally different messages. We reach parents through social media, so through TikTok, through Instagram, through Facebook, and how we talk to them is totally different than how we reach and connect with kids. We're doing, running sort of multiple campaigns, POV campaigns, where here's how you can use Kidz Bop. Here's how Kidz Bop can be beneficial to your life and to your child's life. We have an irreverent campaign going as well, because I think we know that being a parent, it's tough now navigating, being a parent in today's world. And, I think we can approach that with humor. which we do. But then I think connecting with kids, I think the core, going back to sort of the core of what Kidz Bop does and what's baked into our DNA, and connecting with them, is that the brand is aspirational, but yet it's attainable. We have 10 Kidz Bop kids right now from all over the world, and our goal is, no matter what piece of content we create, what tour you see, what song you listen to, you can identify with one or more of those kids. You can see yourself in our cast of Kidz Bop kids. I think we lead by example. We're not like hitting them over the head with, diversity, or it's like, no, it's what we do every single day. And just look at the cast, look at the music that we're covering. It speaks for itself. And I think kids, sort of going back to being authentic, they realize that and understand that in a meaningful way, as opposed to we're trying to teach you something. We're leading by example, and the example speaks for itself.
Just to jump in real quick, aspirational is also how we approach our influencer content, right? Like, whether it's an older sibling, which I think is a whole area that we could talk about, like, these kids either have somebody in their own house that they're looking up to, or potentially if they're watching other influencers, there's this aspirational cool factor, right? If somebody a little bit older than them is playing with the product or showing it off, it's like, oh wow, that's validating, right? And even as a kidult myself, right, like there's some toys that we have in there that I'm like, oh, that is a cool toy. And if I see somebody that I know that's playing with it, right, it's something that goes, okay, well, cool, that's a stamp. That's not just me and my little world. So all that to be said, aspirational is something that we really, really lean into, because it's just naturally happening, whether we're going to do an influencer campaign or not, if they have older siblings.
When in doubt, ask a kid. Always surround yourself with kids. Every company should have kids, right, involved in the decision, because they know better than we do. They're smarter than us, right?
I love that, because at Zigazoo, we always look at Ask a Kid. So we have polling within our app, and we can, on a daily basis, tap our 10 million users and find out what they care about. It's, helped us. We do this for our partners. We do this to improve our own platform. So I think my next question is centered around what's the secret ingredient. Some of it at Zigazoo is with our polling. Others is in this wish listing feature that we developed, because we realized we have the nag factor, but we also have every parent's email, so we can thread them together. So there's a lot of new secret ingredients to reach Gen Alpha. And what are yours?
Okay. Well, I'll say Ashley's made this a little bit easier for me, because she told me she was bringing 10 kids to the booth, and she showed up with 35 children. So we got a lot of information directly from people, because we could see where the mass, it was chaos. Everybody came in and they were spread around, but they all were huddling around different, products that were coming out. And so that was amazing for me to just see it in real time. I truly, truly believe being able to see a kid play with a toy lets you know right away, right? Like, and I'm just speaking from the toy perspective. Like, if we can see a kid play with a toy, you're gonna see, what are they going to? What are they most excited about? What are they gonna repeat doing? And so Ashley let me see that on, was it Saturday? I got a phone call. They were like, Zigazoo's here. And I was like, oh my God, it was the whole aisle, but it was great. But we've had the ability during this toy fair to actually see kids play with toys. We've been fortunate enough that we've been able to get some 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds in here, and you can see how they play with it, right? Like, it's not how we're assuming.
Your people are here.
Look who just showed up.
Good. Let's fill some seats.
Marshall and Sky came to my panel.
They're cheering you on, Jordan.
But yes, I think seeing how kids play with it, me being able to bring toys home and seeing how my daughter's going to play with it, lets me know, okay, how do I need to talk about these things? What is a feature that I wouldn't even be focused on that seems to be something that she continues to want to do? So honestly, having a toy tester in the family makes it really easy.
Secret ingredient, that was the question. I got distracted with, okay. Listening, asking questions, paying attention. But I think with that said, there's, it's speed, right? Our biggest competition is a Netflix would say is sleep, right? We have to be faster to market. We have to set trends. We have to future cast what's coming next. We have to be 10 steps ahead. We have to be looking at the creators, looking at the influencers, looking at the music, looking at the fashion, looking at what's on, different platforms and trending, and be ahead of that so that we can be bringing that in real time before it's something they've already passed. We're in a really high churn business. Our biggest problem is the speed in which we can do that. And I'm sure you would argue the same thing, even though you're rolling out videos, I don't know how many a day.
Yes, it's hard to keep up, and it's going at a breakneck pace. I think, and we joke all the time, we get asked, well, who's your main competitor? And I'm like, soccer practice? I mean, we're competing for kids' times and families' times. I think that it's no secret that kids are definitely more scheduled than when I was growing up. I think, and you could probably argue that a lot of kids today are overscheduled. They've got, multiple different sports and groups and activities, and then you try to, make sure that there's time for play and music and screen time. So, we're competing for kids and families' time. And so we need to make sure that what we are producing, whether it's music, video content, or putting on a fantastic pop concert for families, that we are, putting out the best quality product that we can. And I think we also joke a lot about the secret sauce. I think, people think there's been a lot of memes about it, of like the Kidz Bop team around the table thinking of like, what are the lyric changes going to be? Oh my gosh, how are they going to do it again? How are they going to record WAP? I mean, people are really thinking about this critically. And we laugh. I mean, again, going back to what I was saying before, I think we're putting our adult brain on it. The secret sauce is really easy. There is no secret sauce. I mean, it is the music. What we create is fun for kids. And parents love it because it's safe. That's the secret sauce. It's really, really simple. And I think a lot of people tend to overthink it. So we try not to overthink it in that way.
Well, I would just touch on secret sauce, something that Brenda said earlier. It's listening. Like, yes, what we're doing is a billboard in some sense. It's advertising, but it's listening, right? Like, it has to be a two-way conversation. We have to hear what people are saying. We have to, just take that in. It can't just be, you've got a megaphone and you're saying stuff out loud. You need to take that feedback, because that's going to help you connect with people on a deeper level. You'll figure out which trends you actually should be playing in or things you need to stay away from. But if you think it's a one-way conversation, you're missing the point.
Yeah. I want to dive into influencers. And Kidz Bop is really interesting because Kidz Bop is an influencer at large. And on Zigazoo, we have a Kidz Bop channel, but then every single Kidz Bop star has their own channel. And kids go bananas when they're able to interact with their favorite creators. And I want to know a little bit about the power of influencers and creators in this audience. Is it important? Is it the same as adult marketing?
Me again. So I think, right, influencer, creator, there's so many different ways to frame it up. I think we lean more an ambassador in the sense that we want people that are going to become synonymous with these products, become a voice for these products. We want to really be able to have this authenticity with it. Like, I don't want it to feel like, okay, you've paid me money, I'm making a spot because it's just good for the bank account, right?
Kids know. They can suss that out.
100%. I want this to feel like, okay, you are an actual person that cares about this. I had some influencers come through the booth, right? They were paid influencers. I'm not, but I said, what do you guys care about? I can show you everything, but what are you interested in? And in this group, they'd never done for us in the past anything with Gund, but we spent 30 minutes there. They loved every single one. They knew every single name. They were touching and holding, and you could just see the genuine connection. And so for us, it's that genuine connection. We want people to talk about things that they care about, and that's how our approach with influencer, creator, ambassador is. You can see when you're not being authentic. Kids can see it. Kids can see it with us when we're not being authentic. So why is that going to change for a video that they're watching?
Well, I think when you said that the Kidz Bop kids are creators and influencers. We agree they are, but we're also coming from a place where every kid is a creator. I think there's been a recent study that just came out talking about what kids wanted to do when they grow up. They want to be creators. They want to be YouTube stars. They want to be influencers. They want to be pop stars. I mean, they don't want to be, the head of marketing or the graphic design team. They're creating anyway. They have grown up in an environment where they've always known Kadoodle. They've always known YouTube. They grew up with shows, where they're catapulting, tweens to superstardom. It's what they want to do. It's sort of, again, baked into their childhood. And you talk to any kid, they're all little singers and dancers and performers and creators and fashionistas, and they're creating every day and tapping into the brands and the things that they love. So I think that's kind of how we approach our brand every day.
Hello, haul videos. I mean, that's huge. So I'll approach this question from 3 different buckets. When you've got the littles that you guys, make stuff for, you're dealing with the moms, right? The mom army that's out there that's like, oh, you're buying those shoes for your kids? Oh, that's the stroller you picked? It's like, it's judgmental, but it is real. And I think first-time moms are out there like, holy cow, this is like super gangster out here. And they're finding products by other moms telling them. And then they're watching the creators and the moms out there that make it look perfect and beautiful, and they cut their sandwiches in heart shapes. And then you've got the sort of middle group there, which I feel like they're starting to lean into the creator side. They don't want to see the person that makes the shampoo. They want to see a real person like themselves that they can identify with actually giving a real review. It's kind of like how we will read a Yelp review or look at Amazon to see, is this a piece of crap that I'm buying? They want to hear it from somebody because they feel it's unfiltered, even if it's not a good product. They'll look at the influencers like your Hailey Biebers or your Kylie Jenners, that I call those the celebrity people, in a very different light, as if they're just trying to sell a product. They'll look at the creators differently. And then last night, I had the privilege of sitting with a bunch of pre-tweens, 12 of them actually, 11 and 12 years old, who said to me the only thing they care about is the creators. They don't care about the influencers. They just want to see other people give their honest opinion because they want to buy the product. They're already attracted to the marketing of it, but they want to know if it's something that's going to add value to their life. And that's easily determined when they pick out those people that, are speaking to them in a certain way.
100%. So we're getting close to time. I want to wrap up with a quick lightning round. So to win Gen Alpha today, brands need to stop doing X and start doing Y.
Ooh, I'll go first. And I'm going to answer this question from the 8+ demographic. To stop ignoring them and treating them like children, and to listen to them and stop treating them like children.
I think we all have a variation on a theme. I was going to say stop talking at them and start listening to them.
I was going to say stop being passive and start being engaged.
I love it. Well, thank you all for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
And thank you, Sasha, Jordan, and Brenda. We'll be over to the side if anyone has any questions. Have a great toy fair.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.